Hey there, I'm Bing from Wonder Bing Travel, and I equip and inspire women to create transformative solo road trips. So I'm currently wrapping up my third week of my summer road trip, and I've made some classic solo road trip mistakes that I usually don't make. Despite years of experience and over almost 70,000 miles on the road, it's been a little bit of a mess this time, and it's totally my fault and totally preventable. So yes, it has been filled with beauty and wonder, and you can see that right here as I stand here in Breckenridge, Colorado. But the mistakes have definitely impacted some of that easy joy that I look forward to so much when I'm on the road. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 mistakes that have made this trip harder than it needed to be. And then 2 things that I have done well that have been total wins. So I'm sharing all this so that you can avoid these mistakes when you prepare your solo road trip, and you can do so with so much more confidence. So let's get started. Okay, let's just dive right in. So there's an overarching theme to all of this, and it really comes down to the fact that I tried to plan this trip in too short of a time. So planning for me is important, and this doesn't mean that I'm plotting my every move. In fact, it's just the opposite. I actually plan with purpose, which gives me tons of freedom when I'm traveling. I made my final decision to take this trip with only 2 weeks to get myself and Lexi the Golden completely ready. And not only that, but that meant giving myself 2 weeks to leave my home life completely organized before I left as well. And while I got out on time, I did pay the price for rushed planning. So here are the 5 things that I made a mess of. And I know, before I go any further, yes, this is a real background. I am really here. This is really behind me. This is the Sangre de Cristos in Westcliff, Colorado, one of my favorite places on earth. So I'm sure you're distracted by the background, and I wanted to let you know where the heck I am. Okay, let's dive into solo road trip mistake number 1 that I made. Poor food planning. I'm usually super intentional with food. I think through meals and snacks and drinks and make sure that it's packed in a way that works for life on the road. So what I still did right is that I still had my main cooler in the back, and I had my upfront cooler, which is what I call it, and a separate bucket container of dry goods and snacks. But in my rush, I overdid it. I took way more food than I could possibly eat. I know that I normally eat less food when I'm road tripping, but I overdid it. And I also forgot a few things. So the end result is that I ended up throwing food away, which I hate doing. But about 5 days in, there were things that were spoiling, and I no longer could eat them. And it also took up extra space that I definitely could have used for other things, and that really bothered me. The other downsides are that I ended up eating out a bit more than normal, which means I spent more money. And none of this ruined the trip, but it definitely added stress that I didn't need. A little more intention and forethought would have made it easier and definitely more sustainable. So my encouragement is this. If you are planning a trip for yourself, take some time to really think about what you're going to eat and how much you're going to eat out and how much you want to take with you and how much you can eat before it will go bad, because I did that poorly this time around and I really regret it. So speaking of planning your own trip, if you are doing that, especially for the first time, I have put together a free 5-day going solo quick start guide. It walks you through the exact things that I normally do before I hit the road, and it can save you a lot of stress, time, packing mistakes, and second guessing. You can find it on my website at the link below. It's totally free, and it's a great way to get started with confidence. On to number 2. So number 2 is that I overpacked and underpacked at the same time. And I'm talking about clothing here. I knew that I was going to encounter a variety of temperatures and a variety of climates as I traveled, because I was going from the muggy, hot eastern states, where I live in Pennsylvania, through Virginia, Tennessee, followed up by more humidity in Missouri and Arkansas, and into the heat of Kansas. But the majority of my trip was going to be Idaho, Utah, Montana, and Colorado. So depending on elevation, those states can be super hot in the afternoons, but yet incredibly cold at night, even in July. Mornings were often freezing or a bit below freezing, yet in the 70s and 80s during the day. So I know this in my head, but yet I zoomed right by all of that and didn't think through it when I was planning and packing my clothing. So the result is that I took way too many clothes on one hand. So everything from shorts and tank tops to lined pants, sweatshirts, jackets, and yes, even a hat and gloves. Like, I needed all of those things, but in my haste, I overpacked way too many of the same things. I mean, there is such a thing as laundry, and I have done it 3 times since I left. I probably took 1/3 more clothing than I needed, and again, it just takes up space. But on the other hand, I underpacked sweatshirt. I completely forgot my lightweight puffy jacket, which I would have worn on many a cold morning. I had a vest, but not a jacket, and that was a huge regret. And I failed to slow down long enough to really think about the winter stuff. And it has been very chilly in the mornings, especially in Idaho and Montana. Yikes. So in the end, my encouragement to you would be to think through, like, road trip packing isn't about necessarily bringing more, even though you can fit it all. Think about bringing the right things. And if that means doing a deep dive into the Weather Channel and weather apps on your phone, like, do it, because you won't be sorry. So in my book, There's Wonder Around the Bend, I write and share about both packing and food, as well as the next topic that I handled poorly. If you'd like to know more about how to do it well, which honestly is my norm, I swear it is, then you can find the book in the link below. There's Wonder Around the Bend is a story of seeking and reclaiming wonder in your life, but it's also all of the how-tos to get you safely and happily and confidently cruising on your very own solo road trip. Okay, so solo road trip mistake number 3 is that I took the scenic route, which is good, but I pushed too hard and too fast. So let me tell you what that looked like. If you know anything about me, you know that wonder is at the center of every journey that I plan, and that means staying off the highways as much as possible because life isn't lived on the highways. It also means exploring and taking my time. Every time that I head west from Pennsylvania, I endeavor to take a different route so that I can see new things. And that's a good thing. On this trip, though, I had a hard and fast deadline to be in Salt Lake City 1 week after I left Pennsylvania. So all of those things, the taking my time, the exploring, the having to be in Salt Lake City in a week, it just didn't fit together, but I didn't plan well enough to realize it before I was deep into it. I know that probably sounds a little ridiculous because if you think about it for even a minute, you'll likely realize that heading from Pennsylvania to Utah in 7 days really shouldn't include southern Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, or Arkansas, even a little bit. And yet I did. By the time I got to Kansas, I was exhausted and I still had what felt like a zillion miles to go and not that much time to do it. What I planned for a week really should have been at least a 10-day stretch, or I should have taken a shorter, more direct route. Even if I chose to not be on highways some of the time, I didn't need to do the whole southern part of the United States. The scenery, of course, was beautiful, but honestly, I didn't get to enjoy it as much because I was just so tired. And then that turned into like this cycle of just being regretful because I was like, I'm out here in this beautiful place and like, how can I be so tired? And what have I done? And then it was just messy. So I made a mistake, I fully admit it, and I will not do that again. So while I'm a little regretful, I also like to think that I'm just wiser now. So my encouragement to you is to build in breathing room. Sometimes the best adventures start with just a well-paced drive. In fact, I would say they always do. Racing to get somewhere is no way to start a road trip. Okay, let's move on to number 4, which is poor weekend planning. Oh, this one was super frustrating. So I didn't plan for the weekend rush, and it made things complicated. Let me explain what I mean by that. So this is mostly a camping thing, but it would also apply for holiday weekends no matter where you're staying. Like, for example, 4th of July. So in the summertime, campgrounds on the weekends are almost always full, unless you're doing dispersed camping. And I usually plan with that weekend issue in mind, but this time I didn't reserve my weekend overnights in advance, and it was a huge mistake. So that actually kicked me in the tail on 2 different weekends once in Idaho, and then again the following weekend in Utah. I did fine during the week. Whether I had a reservation or not really didn't matter. But the first weekend I ended up paying more than I should have for what turned out to be a fairly expensive campsite because it had electric and water, and I didn't need either one of them. But it was the only thing within a 50-mile radius that I could find. It turned out to be a great spot, but I didn't like that it cost me almost $60. That's a lot for a campsite. Following Saturday, I needed to be in Salt Lake City at 9 a.m. for an appointment. So it was really necessary that I stay close by the night before. I thought this was going to be easy because Salt Lake City is a big place and there should be lots of options. But in the end, it wasn't easy at all. I ended up sleeping in a parking lot of a hotel. They were fine with me being there and I felt quite safe, but it was less than ideal. I did a lot of time wasting and a lot of scrambling on both of these occasions, driving all over the place with poor results, especially that second weekend. It was hours on a Friday. Salt Lake City, 100 degrees, traffic, all over the place, could not find anything. None of this is ideal when you're solo and you're tired. It cost me time, it cost me energy, and the regret was that I saw less of the good stuff because I was scrambling around trying to find a place to sleep. So here's my encouragement to you. Even if you love spontaneity, booking weekend stays when you're camping especially in advance gives you freedom to relax. You can arrive on a Friday and you know where you're supposed to be, your spot's there. There's nothing better than pulling up into your campsite where it says reserved and it has your name on it. And you are good to go and get set up and just have the most relaxing, free, wonder-filled time. Highly recommend. Okay, solo road trip mistake number 5 was no recharging time. I did not build time in with friends and family, and I felt it. This is the one that hit me the hardest. On longer trips, I always try to schedule 1 or maybe even 2 stops where I can be with people I know for at least a day, ideally 3 or 4 on a longer trip. Friends or family who just feel like home, who don't need any explanations, where I can just let down. These are the moments when I recharge, where I can rest, reset, and both literally and figuratively take my hands off the wheel, even if it's just for a night or 2. But this time, I didn't build that in. I had a different agenda because I had the great blessing of trying out a van for 10 days. Somehow I let this concept replace my normal downtime with friends. I think I thought that having the van would just be so easy, which it was in many ways, that it would sort of check the box for me, where I was like, I don't really need to find time with friends. But that wasn't true. And about 10 days in, it all caught up with me. I was worn out. Physically, emotionally, I felt the weight of doing everything for myself. I'm not looking for a pity party here, and I'm so blessed to do the things that I do. Traveling solo never stops being amazing and full of wonder, but it's also exhausting. All the pros of making your own decisions, timeline, stop where you want to, stay where you want to, food, lodging, all those things, they can turn into cons because you are doing it all. You are responsible for everything. And in my case, I'm adding a dog to that, which is a huge blessing that I get to add her to that. But it does add up. Solo travel is beautiful. It's also a little bit brave, but the opportunity to stop and recharge and stay with people who know me is priceless. So my encouragement to you is to give yourself permission to rest and to be cared for. It's not weakness. It's actually kind of wisdom. And if you are not the kind of person who needs other people to do that recharging, then just book yourself into a really fun Airbnb or a hotel or someplace where you just don't have to think about anything for a few days. You'll thank me later. So even with all of the solo road trip mistakes that I've shared today, this trip has still been full of peace, beauty, and plenty of those "this is why I do this" moments. Also, I told you that I would share 2 things that I did really well because, please know, this hasn't been a disaster by any stretch, but I do have regrets about those 5 things and I wish I had done them better, but I do want to share 2 things I did really well. And the first thing that I did differently this year that really paid off was to bring along my new Ogery fan. I've used it in the car to keep Lexi cool for hours and hours and hours. Even with the air conditioning on, it's so nice that she has it in the back seat. I've also used it in my tent on warm nights for both of us, and even on its tripod at my campsite. It's rechargeable, it's quiet, it's pretty compact, and it's just one of those upgrades that makes road tripping so much more comfortable. I truly love this fan. It has been a big upgrade for me. Also, I've done a bigger review on it if you want to check that out here. In this video, you can see all the things about some of my new items that I packed for this particular road trip, and that is definitely one of them. If you want to read more about the product itself, it's on my full Amazon The Most Wonder-Filled Road Tripping Shopping List, which I will put the link in below. If you're curious about the gear that's actually making my life easier out here, that's a great place to start. It's all there. Okay, the second thing really isn't for me, it's much more for Lexi, my golden retriever. So Lexi's having a great trip too. This time I switched her to the freeze-dried version of her BJs Raw Food. So it's still raw, but it's freeze-dried. It weighs nothing. And it's made things so much easier. No refrigeration, no mess, and way less bulk. Perfect for road life. So to wrap this all up here, yes, I made some mistakes this time around. But this trip, which I'm still on, and yes, you are still looking at the most amazing backdrop of any video I've ever done, this trip has still been 95% amazing, obviously. If you're prepping for your own journey, you should check out my video on the best road trip packing list. It's packed with practical tips to help you avoid the mistakes that I made. Take a little of my own advice. And also for a deeper look at the gear I actually use and love, my full road trip and adventure gear playlist is listed here as well. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I hope to see you on the road. And you should definitely come to Westcliff. Hey, this video is proudly sponsored by BJs Raw Dog Food. BJs is 100% fresh and organic from the farm food, and Lexi has been loving it for 5 or 6 years and will eat it for the rest of her life. We love that there's a freeze-dried version now, which is awesome for our road trip. Learn more in the description below and try it. Your dog will love you for it.